Hi guys, my name is SVB and today I'm doing an Overwatch VOD review with a player called Grymhar. He's a high-plat Hanzo Pharah projectile DPS main and he's scrimming here with some of his friends on King's Row attack. So let's just have a look here. And before we get into criticizing our friend here, let me just point out all the things that they're doing well. So first of all, their general play is very good. They're playing well with their teammates. Ult coordination is great. Their general positioning is very good. General aim is very good. So they're doing a good job. They're doing exactly what their team needs, and you can see as a result, spoiler alert, they win quite comfortably. And that's key here, guys. As a DPS player, it's not your job to carry the team. It's not your job to frag out, get 6Ks. Just do what the team needs, and you'll be fine. Just play with your team, coordinate, call-outs, all that stuff. And the team here, they're coordinating quite well. They've got a lot of call-outs going, which I've muted, but rest assured that they are calling out well. Okay, so let's get into the game now. So you can see out the gates here, Grymhar wants to go to the right. They're trying to get that flank angle, which is good. They've got a Widow in their team, and that'll be important in a second, is where our first sort of mistake lies, positioning-wise. So, okay, here, Grymhar's got a good position, overlooking the point. The enemy team is far back next to the hotel. So this is looking good so far. They launch a sonic arrow. They know where everyone is. You can see it's a sort of goats type comp. You can see the D.Va, the Brig, the Lucio, the Rhine. So we know that it's a fat comp. Now that lets us know one thing, that they probably don't have any range. And now we can see here all the players we can see. We've seen this full 6. We know they don't have any snipers, don't have any sort of real range. The only person who can contest anyone is a D.Va. So now as a Hanzo player, what you should know is that you've got free reign. You can go wherever you want, basically, and the only person who can contest you is the D.Va. And if the D.Va comes, you have ways to deal with it. So now when you know this, what you should be doing as Hanzo is getting into the either side window. That far window you can see there, or on this ledge, jump across, and there's an opening that looks down on the point at the right. But Grymhar, unfortunately, is stood here, and they're trying to get shots off, but you can see it's very hard for them to actually hit anybody because they're all around the corner, they're very far away. There's no consistency, no accuracy here, and you can see the Widow here as well is stood at basically the same angle. Now if you're going to play double sniper, you need to get opposite angles. You need to get different angles so that you're causing pressure for the enemy team from different angles. So if the D.Va has to stop one of these two now, they can just fly to the Widow, and the Hanzo's attention comes with it. Now if the Hanzo's in that window on the far side, or the Widow's in the window on the far side, suddenly now the D.Va or anybody who's contesting has a decision to make. Do I go for the Widow? Do I go for the Hanzo? As soon as they go for one, the other one has complete free reign. They can rain down as much damage as they want on the enemy team. So that's mistake number one. But now you can see the point play out. Little fire, a little pokey. No kills coming in. Both teams. The Lucio tries to contest, but quickly runs away to chase the Widow. Now the D.Va comes in here. Now the first thing that Grymhar does is really good. They see it. They see the D.Va coming. They use their jump ability, the double dash in midair that Hanzo's got now, to jump back into the health pack, as we see here. So now they got a good amount of health. Now, D.Va has the defense matrix up. Now what Grymhar has done here, they've pressed E, and now you're going to see they're going to spam every shot into the defense matrix. Now that's a minor thing. Like a driving test, you have minor and major mistakes. So the positioning error is probably a major mistake. This is a minor mistake, but basically you could easily just wait for the D.Va defense matrix to go down. I'll just take it back a little bit here. And you'll see if you just wait with your storm arrow, if you pop your storm arrow, the D.Va's going to defense matrix. So see here, immediately as he pops storm arrow, D.Va pops defense matrix. You don't need to fire. Your lasting time for the storm arrows is longer than the defense matrix. So just wait. Don't spam every arrow into the defense matrix. Just wait for it to go down. And you can then fire away at the D.Va. You kill her, probably demech her. Easy money. But as it happens, the storm arrow gets wasted and the enemy team pushes in. They push out Grymhar's team. But now a big shatter comes in there, and from this point on it's just easy cleanup. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit to after they've capped point A. Now you can see here the team's getting a good aggressive positioning. This is good. Once you've won a point, you want to make use of the free real estate you've got, because they can't come contest the point. So you need to go as far out as you can and establish a positioning so you can push the card for free. So this is good. They get good real estate. They've got good positioning. Fight's going out now. We'll watch how this plays out. So big grab comes in. Grymhar, Dragon, easy wipe. Again, easy money. It's a great grab, great follow-up, great comms. So you can see here the team's pushed up again. Fast forward a little bit. Lucio's on cart, pushing the cart, which is good. That's fine. And now the enemy team comes in. The Diva goes to contest the Widow, so the Widow's out of the picture, the Diva's out of the picture, which now means that Grymhar has a little bit more free reign. You can see the Lucio's pressuring him and the Zarya's pressuring him, so he has to come out. And the enemy team throws in a Diva bomb. They come in, they shatter, they Moira ult, and they wipe Grymhar's team. Nothing you can do there. Move on, you know, you got some ults out. It's all good. Now the call goes out for Grymhar to switch to a Pharah. And that's what he does. We'll see in a second here. Goes back to spawn, switches to Pharah. And now we're going to see some Pharah play that we're going to talk about. Okay, so now you see here, Pharah is a great counter to goats, just because there's nobody who can contest her. The Diva can poke her a little bit, but he's not really, unless they've got great aim, they're not really going to, you know, snipe you out of the sky. They might fly at you, but you're pretty good relatively. So you can spam free damage down. So this part is all good. Now you'll see here, I'll just pause it. Let me just go back 1 second. You see here that the Rhine gets displaced. The boop from the Lucio, Grymhar 2 there, displaces the Rhine. Now one thing that Grymhar does, or doesn't do, most of this game, is use the concussive blast aggressively. Now you'll see here, the Rhine's out of place, Grymhar's focusing the Moira, that's good. The sound barrier goes in, so that protects the other team, and they grab as well. But at no point does Grymhar use the concussive blast to displace any of the enemy team. Now you can see here, his team has survived the grab, and they're going to go aggressive now. They've launched a nice nade. They got a kill on the Rhine. They're going to go aggressive now. Now what Grymhar needs to do is throw a concussive blast behind where the enemy team is, so they come towards his team. But instead, he just fires away, and the enemy team, a couple of them escape, and that's not the worst thing. And now you see the concussive blast comes in late and in fact pushes people away from a grab that's just been launched on the right of the screen, you can see there. So just a minor mistake again, but that could have resulted in some free kills there. And actually you'll see here that that kind of costs them the next fight, because a couple of the players, they survive. The Diva gets killed here by the nice sleep from Diana, but a couple of the players, enemy team, survive, and they come to bite Grymhar's team in the ass, because the Rhine frags out there. You can see off screen in the top right in the kill feed, you can see he charged the Zarya, fire struck the other Rhine, and now Grymhar's team is in trouble. They have to go back. The enemy pops a Moira ult, and you can see here Grymhar's team is going to die. The reset call goes out. Now here's a minor play that I just want to mention to Grymhar, because it might help in a future one-on-one. Here they should just go into the hotel here where the big health pack is on the right. Instead they peek out here, and they do kill the Moira, but they die as well. If they go inside the hotel, get the mega health pack, they probably live, and they probably still kill the Moira. So that's just a minor thing. Maybe in the future that would make a bigger difference. In this case, it doesn't make much of a difference. Okay, so here the next fight breaks out. Grymhar spamming down again nicely. Again, here this would be a great chance to use the concussive blast to push the enemy Rhine towards your team, so you can, you know, just smack him the hell up. But Grymhar again, you know, just a small thing, doesn't use their concussive blast ever as an aggressive tool, which is something they need to do. Now here, you can see Grymhar clearly is positioning for barrage. You can see they've got barrage. Now, here's where a positioning mistake comes in. Grymhar is nicely stuck around the back. None of the enemy team really know that they're there. Here, you can see underneath them is a baby Diva. Now, the baby Diva's just thrown their ult out, so they're fully exposed. And if you see a Diva who's just thrown her ult out and you're far enough away from the blast, you have to kill the baby. That's a free kill. But what Grymhar does, I think they just miss them, and it happens to the best of us, but they just miss the baby Diva, and they barrage largely into nothing. The barrage is useless. By the time they realize that there's a baby Diva underneath them, the baby Diva's back in mech, the Moira is there to help, and now Grymhar is going to taste some micro missiles. The Diva does get demeched eventually, and his team does win this fight, but that's a minor positioning error that Grymhar could have worked on there. Okay, now we'll see here that Grymhar's team they've got the point, but Grymhar got late spawn. Now his team have pushed on without him, and you can see here that's another minor mistake, and I'm going to talk more about why that mistake happened in a second. But Grymhar is not there with his team. His team go in because they've got the brig, but because they're there without their DPS, they're down a man as well. This 5v5, the enemy team shatters, they win, and that's a needless fight loss. If they just waited 2 or 3 seconds for Grymhar to get in position, they would have had a much better shot in that fight. Now I just want to go back to the thing that I pointed out here. Now Grymhar is trying to come back to point, but they're mismanaging their fuel. So you can see here already their fuel is down to nothing. They're spamming the thing, and it's going to drain very quickly. If you're Pharah, you have to tap your way to the fuel. And you can see here they reach the ceiling of the map, and that's something that Grymhar, if you're watching this, you need to stop when you reach the ceiling of the map. You can't go any higher. Don't need to press your space. You're misusing your fuel, and that means that you run out, you drop to the ground, and that again, you lost a couple seconds there, which maybe if you hadn't done, you might have got to your team. But it's a minor thing. Really, that's your team's fault and Calm's fault that it was the call didn't go out, that I'm not there. If you're Pharah in that situation, you have to tell your team, I'm not there, I'm not ready, wait for me. But the team doesn't wait. They go in, they lose that fight. Okay, no biggie. You got loads of time, 2 minutes. Your team pushes in. Again, you can see here the team has gone without Grymhar. So this is a consistent error, something that just needs to be worked out on comms. It's just a simple call, wait for me, wait for me. But in this case, Lucio comes in with a huge boop, 3-man boop, and that's, as you're going to see here, that basically wins them the point and the map. Now, I want to point out another positioning error here. Grymhar, wanting to spawn camp, goes all the way to the enemy team spawn. Now, why is this bad? Well, for 2 reasons. One, Grymhar is Pharah. He doesn't need to be this close. He can outrange anybody on the other team. They're running goats, so he's got more range than anybody. He doesn't need to be this close. He's coming into their range. Now, the second problem is that they could just go out the other spawn door, and that's what you see is exactly what will happen. They go out the other spawn door, Grymhar's on this side, and now he's suddenly not got an optimal angle. Of course, if they had come from this door and they sped at Grymhar, he's also in trouble, because he's then forced to react really quickly, and maybe he gets picked. Maybe a Widow drops out of that spawn, snipes him straight from the go. So there's no need for Grymhar to be this close to the enemy spawn here. They're much better off being on that high ground above the payload where the payload is right now, so they can look down at all of this and, you know, just get free damage. And of course, their team gets a nice grab, big nade, so it's easy cleanup. Again, this barrage could have been a little bit better, but it gets the job done relatively. They eventually take care of the Lucio, who are always annoying in a stall situation. And again, we'll see here, a minor positioning mistake is that Grymhar doesn't need to be this close. Once again, we can see here they're very, very close. They're hovering just above the payload. Now, they could easily be a couple feet back, couple feet higher on that high ground, raining damage for free. When they're in here, they run the risk of anything. Anything could happen. A grab could come in. A Widow again could come in. A McCree flashbang could get them. There's many things here that could hurt them. And even if accidentally, while other people are trying to hurt his team, anything could come in here and just hurt him. But his team has clearly got control of the point, and they win pretty easily. And overall, it was an excellent round from his team, his 6-man. They played well, they coordinated well, and Grymhar played exactly where he needed to in terms of damage and ults. He was always there to follow up. So, as it says in the chat, GG. And here is that boop for your viewing pleasure. Now, while I'm here, there is another thing I wanted to touch on, and it's something I missed in the first run through, and that's the use of Sonic Arrow. Now, this applies to anybody who plays Hanzo. When you use Sonic Arrow, it needs to be used as a tool for information, because that's what it gives you. It gives you information that you wouldn't have otherwise, where the enemy team is around walls, and that's important to both you and your teammates. So now here, this is after Grymhar's team have capped the first point. They're pushing out, and that's good, but here Grymhar needs to throw a Sonic Arrow out so his team knows when the enemy team is coming. You can see here, he's kind of stood around, he's kind of waiting for something to happen. and the enemy team comes in. Now, there's plenty of chances here for him to throw the sonic arrow out, so his team has some more information. Right now, the only person with information is Ryan, and unless he conveys all that information to his own team, the rest of the 5 players are going in blind. So sonic arrow would solve that issue, and you can see here the enemy team kind of catch Grymhar's team by surprise, but a big grab goes out and kind of solves the problem for them. But that is an issue that occurs in this footage that Grymhar sent us, and there's another occasion I want to talk about. So here, after Grymhar's team has wiped the enemy team, they push out again. Again, that's good. You want to get that space. But Grymhar throws a sonic arrow way too early. You can see, you can estimate roughly, right? Once you wipe the enemy team, it's going to take them at least 10 seconds to respawn, and then maybe another 10 seconds, depending on where you are, to get back within fighting range. Now Grymhar throws the sonic arrow out maybe 5, you can see here it's 6 seconds till the next one, so it's probably thrown about 5 seconds too early. And that means by the time the enemy team actually comes into picture, the sonic arrow is gone. So the information is not there. Now ideally the sonic arrow should have gone out, a little bit later. And again here, when they do have the sonic arrow cooldown back up, they don't throw it out. And particularly if you're poking around a corner, it's very important to have that information. So Grymhar could easily throw the sonic arrow out there, and now when they're poking, they know exactly where to poke. They have the advantage over the other person in this fight. But Grymhar doesn't do that, and as it is, their own team gets wiped here by these big wombo combos from the Diva Bomb, the Shatter, the Coalescence. So just a minor issue, something to bear in mind, but overall, thank you for the submission, Grymhar. There's some excellent play. Your team played very well, and you played very well with your team. You should be definitely proud of yourself. Just work on some of this positioning stuff that I've talked about, and just try and keep some more general awareness where you are. The fuel management, as we talked about, sonic use, and I think you'll be climbing up in no time. And that's all I've got for today, guys. Thank you for listening. This is SVB, and this is my Overwatch VOD review.